student loans $70,000, credit cards $20,000, and car loan $25,000. How many credit cards do you have?
2.
Why do you still use them?
I don't know, because they're very convenient and on my phone. So if I don't have the money on me at the time, then I just use my credit card.
Meet Kara. At just 26 years old, she's already drowning in debt, and it keeps getting worse. Her problem, she doesn't even know where her money's going. She refuses to stop using credit cards she can't afford. Can Kara break these bad habits before they bury her further?
Hi, my name is Kara. I'm calling in from New Jersey, and I'm 27.
Awesome. And what do you do for a living, Kara?
I am a behavioral technician and an admissions specialist.
Okay, and how much do you make a year in both those roles?
Together, I would say maybe like around $50K a year.
Around 50? Okay, what's the breakdown between the two? Because on your spreadsheet that you sent over to me, you said you're making about $30,000 a year as a behavioral technician. So you're making $30,000 as a behavioral technician and $20,000 on the other side?
Yes.
And are those salary rolled or hourly rolls?
Hourly.
Okay, so what's the hourly pay?
So the behavioral technician is $27 an hour, and the admission specialist is around $25, $26 an hour. I only say that because I get differentials, so it varies on what shift I work.
Okay. And how many hours a week are you working in both those roles?
36 for one, and then 20 for the other.
56 hours a week then?
Yeah.
Okay, so that should be putting you gross towards like $72,000, $73,000, $74,000 a year.
I just started the admissions.
Oh, you just started that admission. Okay, how long ago did you start that?
Literally like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, good. So getting some additional income coming in there. And how long have you been a behavioral technician?
For a few years, like maybe 3 years.
And did you go straight into being a behavioral technician after college?
Yeah.
And so on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you kind of rate your current financial situation?
It's definitely not picture perfect. Maybe, I feel like around 2, because I'm very irresponsible with how I spend my money.
At least you admit it. And I guess we'll dive straight into those things and look at your current debts. So right now with debts, I see student loans, $70,000, credit cards, $20,000, and car loan, $25,000.
Yes.
Is there any other debt? Any other personal loans?
No.
No. Okay. Wow. Irresponsible, I guess, is the word we can use here. 26 years old with $115,000 worth of total debt. Okay. And then on the asset side, right now you put $0. Well, what's the value of the car? Because you put 0 for the car. What's the value of the car right now?
Right now, if I pay for monthly, I pay about $800 for monthly.
Is that including insurance and the car payment?
Yeah.
So what kind of car is it? And what year, what car, and how many miles?
It's a Honda Insight. It's 2022. And I think around, I don't know if I hit 30K yet, but it's on the newer side.
How long ago did you get it?
I got it in 2020, I think 22.
Okay. Did you buy it brand new?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I see cars on here for $24,000, $25,000. That's in the same ballpark of mileage and stuff as you. So, one's $20,000, one's $25,000, another's $21,000. So, I'm going to take a conservative approach and put it. You might be underwater a little bit. This one's $22,900, so about $23,000. You might be underwater about $2,000 on it. So, we'll put it at $23,000. Retirement accounts. Do we have any retirement accounts?
Yeah, but I'm not sure like the amounts regarding those.
Ballpark, how much is in there? A couple thousand, couple hundred?
Probably a couple thousand, because I've been working for a while.
2,000, 3,000, 5,000. What do you think? Give me your best guess.
That's hard.
This is one of the problems of being irresponsible with money if you don't know your numbers, and this is it leads to bad decisions, bad money habits. So you think 3,000? You think it's 3,000? You think it's 2,000?
I think it might be 3, honestly.
Okay, we'll put 3 then. And then savings. Do we have any savings in the bank account right now?
No.
No savings. Okay, so 27 years old, $115,000 of total debts and $26,000 in assets brings your net worth to negative $89,000. Is there any other assets or debts that we're missing right now?
No.
So out of the gate, you put yourself at a 2. Very honest analysis of your own situation. I would agree you're at a 2. I'd put you at a 1 if you hadn't picked up that second job recently, because $20,000 of the credit card debt is a deep hole to get yourself out of. But I guess we're going to have to dive in and figure out where where these are coming from. So before we dive into kind of the current debts and stuff and where they came from, what led you to that, let's talk about kind of your short-term and long-term financial goals. So do you have any short-term or long-term financial goals for yourself right now?
Right now, my goals are to pay off all of my credit card. And then after that, my long-term goal is to be able to save after I pay off my credit cards.
Okay. Smart to want to start taking action on your credit cards. And do you have like a time horizon on when you want to pay these credit cards off by?
I'm hoping by like February of next year.
Okay. So February of 2025. I think that's one thing when you're setting goals is having a time horizon on it, because that gives you a way to judge, hey, are you on track to do that? Because if you don't have a goal and say, hey, I want to pay those credit cards, and you don't have a goal of, hey, I want to do it by this date, then there's no way to build a plan to get to that. But if you, hey, I want to pay these off by February of 2025, I mean, you got 6-7-ish months. So that means you need to be throwing at least $3,000 a month at these credit cards to get them paid off by that time frame. So then you can say, okay, am I on track to do that or not? Do you have currently a strategy or plan on achieving these goals, or have you taken any action on paying down this credit card debt? Or
yes, so I have a second job. The second job that I had is the admissions specialist job position. So I'm going to use, that's a full-time job. So I'm going to use that. And because it's at a hospital, I can always do overtime with that job. So I am going to use that as my way of paying off my credit cards.
Okay. And have you made any progress on paying off the credit cards the last few months? Or are you just now starting to, hey, I want to start paying these down?
No, I'm just now starting because I need a new job in order to do that.
Okay. And is there a particular like experience or something that happened that made you decide, hey, I want to start paying down these credit cards and I need to stop being irresponsible with money?
Yes, the fact that I can't use them, that's a problem. And I think it has a lot of effect on my credit score.
I can imagine it does. And I think right now, credit scores should be the least of your worries in terms of getting that up, because right now I think you've proven you can't use credit cards appropriately. So credit cards should cease to exist in your life for the foreseeable future until you can get out of debt, save, invest, stick to a budget. And then down the line, you can explore getting a credit card again. But right now, you've proven, hey, are not operating with credit cards properly. The only way to use credit cards properly is pay them off full every single month. If you're not doing that, then you find yourself in a deep hole. So let's dive into your current debt situation and understand kind of where did these things stem from. So we'll start with student loans, probably the easiest. What did you study in college?
Psychology.
Psychology, okay. And are you making minimum payments on your student loans right now, or what is your...
No, I'm in school. I'm in master's program. So I don't have to pay my student loans until 2027.
Okay, so you're working 2 full-time jobs and you're getting your master's right now.
Yes.
Okay. So does that mean we're accumulating more student loan debt right now then? Technically,
no, because I already added all of my student debt that I would have for the master's program. I'll be done in December. In December. So I've already added everything that was.
You'll be done in 3 months in December.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with your master's program. So graduate with a master's, and the total student loan debt you'll have at that time of graduation is $70,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no more student loans are being taken out.
No.
Okay, I was worried since you said you won't have to pay that till 2027 that you'd be in school for the next couple of years. So why is it 2027? I thought usually it's 6 months after graduation is when you have to...
I have no idea. I checked it the other day, and it literally said I was deferred until 2027. So it gives me time.
I would stay on top of that and just make sure if it is deferred till then, that gives you some breathing room to start paying down these credit cards and the car loan and stuff first. But I'd just keep an eye on that, especially as you reach around that 6-month mark of post-graduation, because that's usually when it kicks in, is 6 months after graduation is when the first payments are due for that. So let's go into the next debt then, the car loan. You bought this car 2 years ago, brand new. How much were you making at the time when you bought it?
I don't remember, but I was able to pay off. I had a steady job back when I bought it, so.
Were you making like $40,000, $50,000 a year when you bought this car?
Most likely like $50,000, because I always did like a lot of overtime when I bought the car, so I was able to pay, just pay the monthly payments and everything, and pay more. Like I used to pay double the monthly payment just so I can bring it a little bit down.
What was the total purchase price then if the balance of the debt still $25,000? Because if you're paying extra and you've been paying it for 2 years, it should be lower unless you bought it for $30,000 or $30-some thousand after taxes, fees, and everything else added in there.
I believe it was like 28 something.
Okay. Do you know what the interest rate is on it?
No.
Okay. And your monthly payment is $600, it looks like?
Yeah.
And do you know how long the loan is for? Is it 5 years, 6 years?
It's a great question. I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay. That is definitely something you want to look at and figure out, because I would assume if it is still $25,000 on the loan, and you've had it for 2 years, I mean, your interest rate's got to be exorbitantly high with that, because you'd be paying, I mean, out the gate, even at a 10% interest rate on a $28,000 loan for 5 years, you're paying $300 a month towards principal. That's $3,000 a year. So if it's a 7-year loan, it could be, I mean, you're paying still $3,000 to $4,000 a year in principal. So you need to figure that out. First and foremost is like figuring out your numbers with your debt. What is your interest rates on your student loans, your car loan, your credit cards? Knowing your numbers is very important to do. And also, like, for figuring out a plan of action with the car loan is like, where does that fall into your debt payoff situation, depending on the interest rate with saving and investing as well. So do you know what your interest rate is on the student loans?
My student loans, I don't think so, because it'll be very low.
I'd assume they're low, around 5%, but again, something I guess to look at, and just knowing your numbers is, if you want to change your situation, knowing your numbers is only going to help you. It's not going to hurt you. So, and figuring out a plan of what to do moving forward. So, okay. And the last debt we got to talk about, credit cards. How in the world have we racked up $20,000 worth of credit cards at 27 years old?
Because I have a lot of credit cards. Not a lot, but I alternate between credit cards.
How many credit cards do you have?
3.
How many do you still currently actively use?
2.
Why do you still use them?
I don't know, because they're very convenient and on my phone. So if I don't have the money on me at the time, then I just use my credit card.
Can I give you the best piece of advice that you need if you want to change your financial situation?
Sure.
Delete those credit cards off your phone, throw them away, cut them up, never swipe them again, because obviously they've gotten you to this point of having $20,000 worth of credit card debt, and having them on your phone, in your wallet, is not going to help you get out of the situation. And if you truly want to change, which sounds like you want to, if you're going to go work 56 plus hours a week to pay these down, then it sounds like you want to change. And if you continue to allow having those cards in your life, guess what? You're going to probably go shopping with them, and you're going to swipe and say, hey, maybe I paid it down a little bit. It's fine if I go buy that $300 thing on the internet. And it's going to allow you to spend money that you don't have. And if you operate on a cash basis with your just debit card only right now, that will require you to have the money in your bank account to spend it, and you'll be a lot more mindful of spending those things. Credit card is swipe it, I'll pay it off at the end of next month, and I'll figure out by then. But guess what? You do that 10 times, or a car breaks down or something, and you don't have the money to pay it off, and then you find yourself in a hole of $20,000 worth of credit card debt. So is that something you're willing to try? Get rid of the credit cards, take them off your phone, and don't use them until you're out of debt. And then even then when you're out of debt, I don't even know if I would get back, even open up that door, because you're just opening yourself up to a can of worms that you proved you're not responsible enough to do it. And it's not worth your financial health, your mental health, or anything enable yourself to get back in that situation. So I would get rid of the credit cards. Obviously, you have to pay them off, but get rid of them in terms of having the ability to spend a single dime on those ever again.
Yeah.
Do you feel stressed ever looking at your financial situation or at your credit card statements? Like, what is your current attitude towards your credit card debt right now?
It's a little bit stressful, but I have a plan to pay them off, so I'm not going to worry about it too much.
So what's your current plan? Walk me through the current plan.
Well, I want to put at least in a month, at least like $2,500 a month on each credit card, and then pay it down like that, which will require me to work extra hours, which is fine, because I want to be able to pay them off so that I don't have to deal with them anymore.
Okay. $2,500 a month towards your credit card debt sounds great, and that'll help you knock it out relatively quickly. So how long has this credit card debt been around for?
Honestly, this past couple of months. It hasn't been that bad, like years ago.
So have you carried like a credit card balance though for years, and it finally spiked up to $20,000, or has it gone from 0 to $20,000 over the course of last year?
In the course of the last year.
And so what did you spend all this money on?
Sometimes shopping, my car, just dependent. Like if I needed something, then I would just get it.
But $20,000, that's a lot of money over the course of last year. And you've been working the whole time, haven't you?
No, I haven't been working my part-time job, which is the problem, because I don't get paid enough, I feel like. So if I don't have the money, then I need money for gas. I need, just different things.
But I thought is your behavioral technician the part-time job?
Yes.
I thought you said you're working 36 hours a week for that.
No, that's the hospital that I just started.
Oh, the admin specialist is 36 hours a week. The behavioral technician is 20 hours a week.
Yes.
Okay. So you're working that, but even then, if you're making 27 an hour, I mean, it's 28-ish thousand dollars a year you're making in that role. And it sounds like, I mean, went a little crazy on it. What do you think the biggest purchase you had on those credit cards have been in the last 12 months?
Probably, I'm trying to think. I know one was a concert. Another one.
How much was the concert? You go to Taylor Swift across the big blue ocean in Europe or something?
No. But I bought 2 tickets, which was, I think, $500. And then my other stuff, I don't even know what I do.
$500 though out of 20,000, that's not a big portion of that. So where's the rest of this money gone? I mean, $20,000 is a lot to rack up over the last 12 months even if you're working part-time.
It is, but I don't know. Like, I use my credit cards on a daily basis, so I think that's the problem.
So I'm assuming you have never budgeted or looked at your monthly expenses and know, hey, this is how much money I spend each month shopping or on food or on car expenses. I'm assuming you've never sat down and done that.
No.
So that's another problem. If you don't track your expenses and you don't know how much money you spend on certain things, then it's very easy to overspend, because one transaction a day for $30 on Amazon doesn't sound like much. You do that every single day, you got $1,000 in expenses basically right there. And do that same thing with eating out, groceries, trips, concerts, whatever it is. If you don't track it, it's very difficult to know, are you overspending, how much are you spending, and how can you adjust that? So that's something that you really need to do moving forward, is you need to make sure you're tracking every single expense. And this kind of comes back to, I guess, overarching theme is knowing your numbers, whether it's your interest rates on your debts and your monthly payments, all those figures, or knowing your numbers on how much money you have budgeted to spend that month on certain categories. That will only help you and guide you to make good decisions. And so if you want the goal of paying down $2,500 a month in credit card debt, I think that's a phenomenal goal. But if you don't start budgeting, that additional income from your new job is just going to go out the door because you're not tracking. And you might be like, okay, I'm bringing in an extra however many $1,000 a month. It's okay if I go buy that one thing on Amazon or go buy shopping at the mall. And if you don't track your numbers, guess what? That money's going to go out the door just as quickly as it came in. And I mean, in America, it's a problem with lifestyle creep. Is people get new jobs, pay raises, promotions, and they still live paycheck to paycheck. They're still stressed 12 months later because they've inflated their lifestyle with the new income, and all the money goes out the door. They don't track their expenses. And it's like 50% of Americans making over $100,000 a year live paycheck to paycheck. And that's what I don't want for you, is you're trying to hustle. You want to hustle to get a new job and to pay this down. But if you don't track and have kind of those building blocks of budgeting and tracking your expenses in place, you're going to be sitting here 3 months from now with debt not moving anywhere and not having any money in your savings. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Definitely.
So I'll send you some tools. I use one called Copilot. It's super easy. I built some spreadsheets that are just simple budgeting tools to help you decide how much money should you spend in different categories. It has different fun tools like that. But I'll send you those so you can check out and start understanding where your money is going and how to track expenses better. So I was going to ask you, I guess, to tell me a little bit more about your spending habits, but it kind of sounds like you are just a spender and you like online shopping. Do you shop in person, or is it mostly online?
Mostly online, but I do shop in person too.
And is it clothes? Is it things for your room, for your house? Like, what are these things you're buying?
A lot of the time, it's like, for instance, I have a Pilates membership. I have a gym membership, which is an extra. Let's say the gym membership is like $100, but Pilates is definitely $230 every month. So like a lot of my big purchases, they go onto my credit card because it's more convenient. Yeah. And then...
Or do they go on your credit card because you don't have any money in your bank account, so you can't technically use a debit card?
Yeah.
Which is part of the problem too.
Yeah.
And so spending just everything. And I guess my question, so how long have you had this new job?
I literally just started 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. So have you gotten your first paycheck or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay. And do you know what your monthly pay stub on that is going to be? Or weekly pay stub? Bi-weekly?
I'm not sure yet because I didn't really do the math regarding it, because I'm going to get two different rates for it. So I didn't really do the math yet.
Okay. So let's assume, so 36 hours times 25 times 52 divided by 12 will be about $3,900 a month. And we will assume a tax rate in New Jersey of, I'll just say 23%. So you'll be getting about $2,800 a month from the new job, and then the old job, Do you know what's your current pay stub on your old or your 20 hours a week job?
It was my last paycheck was about $600.
$600. Okay, and every 2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay, $600 every 2 weeks. So you're only making $1,200 a month from working 20 hours a week there?
So the way my job is if I don't get all of my hours, because what I do is provide in-home services for kids as a BT, a lot of the times, the families sometimes don't want sessions or miss their hours, so I don't get paid for the hours that I don't do. So if I do the whole 20 hours, then it's probably more than that, but a lot of the times I don't get all of my hours because it's dependent on the families. But at most I get like 15 hours.
Okay, because I was calculating you'd be about $1,700 a month from that job, so that'd be $850 per every 2 weeks. But you said you're about $600, so I'll move it down to $1,200. But between that job at $1,200 a month and the new job calculating about $2,800, you should be bringing in about $4,000 a month, which is a $2,800 a month increase from your current income, which is great, but comes down to making sure that you use all that to pay off the debt and don't spend it all. So, okay, well, I guess on that note, let's dive into your current. Actually, before we dive into that, I want to learn more about you real quick. So, in 60 seconds, explain a little bit more about yourself, your childhood, and what you've kind of learned from your parents about money growing up.
I kind of learned that money is important. Money will get you places where if you don't have it, it's not going to be helpful. I don't know how to explain that. I do know that as a child, my parents didn't go to school, so they had minimum wage jobs with me growing up. And I know that I didn't want to do that, so I went to college and I'm getting a master's, and I'm hoping that getting this master's will up my pay a little bit more, well, a lot more, so that I can provide more for myself and my family, even though I don't have any kids.
Okay. Have your parents ever talked to you about money growing up at all?
No, my mom at a young age got me a credit card that I wasn't able to use until I turned 18.
Okay, so you've been using a credit card for the last 9 years. Have you always carried a balance on your credit card, or have you never carried a balance for years, or what was that over the last 9 years, I guess, your use of the credit card?
Yeah, I was always able to pay my balances right off, like the month before the due date or whatever. I forget how they do it, but I was able to always do that. But since my credit cards got higher, the credit increases got higher, it's been a little bit more unmanageable.
Okay. Did you remember the first month where you weren't able to pay your balance off in full?
Probably this year in February.
And was there a certain event or purchase that caused that, if you remember?
I needed to pay off my last, I had to pay off some of my schooling that student loans didn't cover.
Okay. So that started the cycle. Okay. I guess one quick note too about your master's. So your master's ends and you graduate in December. What's your current plan for after graduation?
Take the test and get licensed, and then find a job as a social worker.
What's the, I guess, process to get licensed? How long will that be after graduation? And can you start looking for jobs after that? And also, yeah, I guess that first.
So, okay, to get licensed, I have to take the exam. I can take that right before I graduate, so that won't be an issue. But the only issue is if I don't pass the test, then I have to wait, I think, 90 days to retake the test. And then, yeah, I can start looking for different jobs. But the thing is, being a social worker, you have to, if you don't pass the test, you can still get a job as a social worker. It's just that you won't get paid as much.
What's your projected income as a social worker with your master's?
Probably around like 70 to like 80K.
Okay, that's right. I see the averages. This one website says about 79. 79 is the median. The lower 25% is 72,000. Upper 25% is like 88 plus. So sounds like you hopefully will be in that pay band, which will give you a pay increase and not working 56 plus hours a week, which would be beneficial. Okay, so let's now dive into your current monthly budget that you sent over to me. So right now we said about $4,000 in net income between the two jobs. Your rent is zero. You living at home right now?
Yeah.
Did you rack up this $20,000 worth of credit card debt while living at home?
Yeah.
Ooh, so you really got crazy, because even bringing in $20,000, $30,000 a year from your part-time job and no living expenses, I mean, it's a lot. Okay. So we got car insurance $250 and your car payment is $600 and you only spend $25 a month on gas?
Yeah, kind of. Like maybe 40 now since gas went up. But yeah, my car is half electric, so it doesn't take much.
Okay. I mean, I don't think gas prices, I don't think they've risen that much to almost double from 40 to, or 25 to 40. But I think that's another thing is when it comes to like knowing your numbers, 25 might be right. But if you think about it a second time, hey, I probably fill it up for $40 or 50 or 100, whatever it is. But like understanding and budgeting your numbers will help you there. Groceries, $200 a month. So your total necessities is about just under $1,100. It's $1,090. Eating out, you put $300. Health and fitness, $300. Shopping, $500. Travel, $3,000. And total fund money, you put total of $4,100. Total living expenses, $5,190. I can see why lifestyle creep is, and we ran up these credit cards that this is how we're spending. Are you actually spending this much money on shopping and travel and everything each month?
So I've stopped, honestly, because I can't afford it anymore. But I used to, when I used to travel like years ago, yes.
Was that travel paid off in full, or is that travel now part of the credit card debt?
It's part of the credit card debt.
Okay, so you traveled the world on credit cards. Who taught you to do that? Who told you that was a good idea?
Nobody.
That's good, at least. Did you ever think that, hey, maybe I shouldn't go on this trip since I can't afford it?
No, because my mindset, because I'm like very young, or was very young, I just did it without thinking about it.
That's the problem in America and just financial literacy is credit cards are given to, I mean, you got yours when you're 18 and they're given to anyone because credit cards know that, hey, young kids will spend money like it's going out of style. They'll take trips. They'll do X, Y, and Z. We want to give credit cards to them because they'll spend more money than they have. They don't understand what are the ramifications of it. And here we are. Now you're paying the price of now you got to work extra to pay off this credit card debt. Otherwise, it's going to consume you for the rest of your life. So that is the problem with credit cards and the credit system in America. It's over glamorized, and frankly, it can help you get a lower interest rate on a house. I'm not a fan of car loans, so I don't care about that really, and it can help you. I guess some landlords check your credit score to rent you a place, but there's also other ways to do it with a bigger deposit and stuff. So there's definitely ways around it, but I just think the credit system in America is broken, and way too many people focus on it, and it lands them in a world of credit card debt. So on that, let's now dive into your current expenses that you sent over. So you have, how many different credit cards do you have? You said you have 3?
Yeah.
And so I see Discover. Do I only have the Discover card, or did you send me the other ones?
The problem with the other ones, I couldn't get like a printout. I would have had to like just do all these screenshots.
Okay, so I guess we only have the one in here. So on this credit card, this is from, what is this from? This is from June. Previous balance of $5,108. You paid $414. You spent $44, and you got charged $97 of interest. So your minimum payment on this card is $118. And if you only pay the minimum payment, do you know how long it's going to take you to pay this credit card off?
A while.
20 years.
Really?
It'll take you 20 years. Do you want to wake up when you're 47 years old and just be paying off this credit card?
No.
And do you know how much? So the balance is $4,835 to end the statement. If you take 20 years to pay it, do you know how much you'd pay in total?
Probably triple.
Yeah, close. Just over triple. $16,251. How does that make you feel?
Terrible, which means I'm paying that card off first.
Well, I mean, all the cards are going to be like that because, I mean, your interest rate on this one, let's see if it says on this. I don't see the interest rate currently at 23% on this card. But, I mean, all credit cards are over 20% interest rate on it unless you have a balance transfer card. And that's just causing, will just continue to happen, and all of them are high interest rates. So I wouldn't be focused on, I mean, you need to pay them all off as quickly as possible, I guess is my point. So
yeah.
And then I have, let's see, I guess a purchase on this one during this time period I have is you did earn your cash back bonus of $91. So you got charged $97 in interest, but you got a cash back of $91, which my point is cash back doesn't matter with credit cards when you're paying 23% interest rate on it. So paying 23%, so your 1% cash back does absolutely nothing for you. You have you have 2 Lyft transactions for $23 and $20. What are those for?
I think my car was getting fixed and I had to go to work.
Okay. And then the other statement I have, this is a cashback debit card. So are you using a debit card?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a debit card, cashback debit card, it looks like. And we've got transactions coming in. And then withdrawals are, what is NFCU ACH payment?
My credit card payment.
Okay, those are all your credit card payments? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, all these on here are basically just withdrawals trying to go out to your Discover, to your Apple Card. So is the Apple Card your NFCU and then your Discover, your 3 credit cards?
Yes.
I see a lot of transactions towards that. I mean, your debit actual purchase is only $22. I think all the withdrawals is $2,000. Okay. So when we look at this, I mean, I only have one of your credit card statements, and then that debit card statement is all just credit card payments. But looking at this with $97 in interest, and that's only a fourth of your debt, basically you're paying $400 a month in interest alone towards these credit card companies. And if you only pay the payment, it's going to take you 20 years to pay all this off. And so right now, I think you have the good idea of, okay, I want to pay this off over the next 7 months, and I think you should be able to do that. And so I guess we'll talk through how is that possible. So right now, if you want to pay off your credit card debt, let's see, I'll calculate for you how long is it going to take for you to pay off your credit card debt. If you have $20,000, and I'm just going to use a blended average between the different cards.
Okay.
So I'll say $20,000 total. Your minimum payments, I'm assuming, is probably about $450 or so. And your interest rate, I'm going to assume a 25% interest rate on that. I could be off, but I'm just trying to give a rough picture. And if you do the minimum payments of $450 and you pay an extra $2,000 per month, then this will take you about 10 months to pay it off.
Okay.
That might change, obviously, depending on what interest rate is on the different cards. If one's 23 versus 29, what the minimum payments are. But just a rough ballpark, since I don't have the other ones, I'm just assuming $20,000 balance, $450 minimum payments, and 25% interest rate, and you throw $2,450 a month towards that. If you want to pay this off by February, so basically 7-ish months from now, to do that, you will need to pay about $3,000 a month towards both these to all of these cards.
Okay.
Looking at your current situation, we'll go with assuming that $2,500 a month. How can you get there? And looking at your current budget, so you have, I guess, looking at your current budget, travel, can we agree travel is going to zero over these next 7?
Yeah.
Travel is going to zero. Shopping, what is shopping going to over the next 7 months?
Most likely 0 because I can't do it right now.
Okay. And shopping, do you think you'll need any clothes? Do you think you'll need to buy anything for your house? Like only necessities. I think only necessity shopping is a thing, but thinking logically, okay, is your shampoo and stuff, is that going under groceries or is that going to go under shopping, toiletries, whatever it might be?
It honestly might go under just necessities, depending on how much I need it.
So do you think we should put maybe $100 for shopping, and that contributes for all necessities that are, stuff might come up? I'm just trying, if you go to 0, you can go to 0, but it's a lot harder to go from 500 to 0 than it is, okay, 500 to 100. And guess what? If you don't need it, if you don't actually truly need it, it's not a necessity, don't do it, and that $100 can go towards paying off the debt. But I'm just also trying to give you, okay, realistically, are you going to go to 0, or realistically, are you going to go and buy something at some point in the next 7 months, or need new clothes or new shoes, running shoes, working shoes, whatever it might be? Do not go buy a new workout outfit from Lululemon or Alo or some nice website, but do you truly need shoes because you have holes in them, or new socks because your socks got holes, whatever it might be? I think 100 is honestly on the high side, but I'm just trying to paint a picture. Okay, how much money can you actually, how much money will you actually have? So let's see. We have health and fitness, $300. That's broken up between, currently is between, you said 2 gyms. You have a gym and you have
Pilates.
Okay. So do you need both of those over the next 7 months?
No.
Okay. So which one? I'm all for health and fitness, but I don't think you need two, $100 and a $230 membership over that time period. I think you need to pick one and only use that one. So which one do you think you're going to use?
Probably the gym more.
Okay. And that's $100?
Probably less, but I'm also trying to find a new gym anyway, because I think there's student memberships that I can use.
Okay. So should we assume $75 for a gym? Put a budget. Okay. $75 for a gym or $50 for a gym?
Yep. 75 is fine.
75 for the gym. Okay. And then we have eating out. What is your budget you're going to give yourself every single month for eating out?
Honestly, just $50 at this point.
Just 50? Okay. So eating out down to 50. Groceries, 200, I think is realistic. And then maybe the car payment and car insurance we can't get away with. Car insurance, have you shopped that around? Have you worked with an independent, like broker to help find better rates for your car insurance?
No, I've just been going on like the car insurance websites to find different quotes.
So do this. There are some apps out there that kind of help. I think Jerry's one of it. I've never actually gone through Jerry. I've looked at just to see, but I like talking to someone when it comes to car insurance because it's confusing. But I found a person in my area that's an independent insurance broker, and I say, hey, if they try to, I mean, they haven't tried to sell me this, but if someone tries to sell you additional things, don't buy that. But you can find an independent broker in your area and say, hey, I need new car insurance. Can you shop this around for me? And it took our car insurance from, I don't know, saved us like $200 a month. We went from like $400 down to $200 between my wife and I. We paid for 2 cars and it's only $200 a month. And similar coverage, just jumping from a big, well-known brand to a smaller local company. When we've had to use it, it's been great. And we use it for our house and for our auto. But those are things that you can definitely do and help you save some money. I introduced a family member to the same people and they went from paying $400 down to like $250. So it saved them like $150 a month. So my point is, shop that around. $250 seems pretty steep for your car. For females are typically cheaper for insurance too. I'm more sensitive than my wife, even though my car is older. So I think that's something you can get down. I'll leave it in there for right now, but I definitely suggest shop that around.
Okay.
But basically right now we have total necessities of $1,090. We have total fund money $225, which is $1,315 a month plus additional about $450 in credit card minimum payments. So that is $1,765, which leaves you $2,235 to throw out your debt every single month if we stick to this budget. So if you do that, it will take you 9 months to pay off your credit card debt. So that is $450 a month towards a credit card minimum balance, and then an additional $2,235 a month towards the credit card debt. And so that would put you sometime probably March, April, if my math's right, you'd be paying this off. What do you think of that?
It sounds great. I'm going to have to really stick to it because I have no choice.
I would agree. I think right now, you said earlier, you're young and you have, I guess, 2 routes you can go right now in life. And it's either buckle down, pay this off as quickly as possible, or you're going to wake up when you're 30, have no savings, trying to be having kids and be stressed about finances because you're still paying off credit cards from when you're making decisions when you're this age. So I think right now, I think this is a good plan. I think obviously it's not going to be an easy plan because you are going to be working 56 hours a week. You're finishing up your master's program. But I think if you prolong this, then it's going to always stick around. It's always going to be just thinking in the back of your mind that I should have started doing this years ago or months ago. And you always will regret not starting because I can promise you no one has been upset when they've been out of credit card debt. They're not upset about having to pay $400 a month to the bank in interest. And so I think this is a reasonable plan for you to do. Still has some wiggle room for shopping, for eating out, for health and fitness that you can spend each month. But then you really have to lock in on everything else and not be traveling, not be going crazy on groceries and some of those things. And then when you get out of debt or when you get out of the car or credit cards, then we need to start thinking about, okay, what is the plan for the car loan? Because right now, I'm assuming your car loan interest rate is probably pretty high, given that you haven't made much progress paying it down over the last 2 years. And then, so maybe that's the next thing you attack after that. And then we start talking about student loans when those start getting resumed, what to do from there. But I think the credit cards attacking that first is definitely because of the interest rate is the most important. And you're making the minimum payments on the car loan right now, which is fine. You're on track to pay that down. And those are usually 5 to 6 year term loans. But I think that's the biggest thing right now is the credit cards. So when it comes to the credit cards and just over your debt in general, are you familiar with the debt snowball method versus the avalanche method?
No.
There's 2 different ways to pay off debt. The avalanche method is you list your debts from highest interest rate to lowest interest rate, and you attack the debt with the highest interest rate first. I think mathematically that's a great formula and way to do it because you'll pay a little bit less in interest. I'm typically a fan of the debt snowball method because it's listing your smallest debts to your largest debts, no matter the interest rate, because you'll see progress a lot faster. You'll see progress a lot faster paying a $1,000 loan that maybe be 5% than a $20,000 loan that is 20%. You'll see pay off that $1,000 loan a lot faster, and you'll be a lot happier, and you'll kind of get that snowball rolling of, hey, I can do this. I paid down one debt. I can do these others. So I'm a big fan of the debt snowball method. And so in your instance, you have 3 different credit cards. The debt snowball and the avalanche would basically line up to be the exact same. But basically what you do is you'll list your credit cards from smallest to largest. So I know one is $4,800. What are the other 2 balances?
Literally 800. I'm at 8,000. literally 8,000 even.
Okay. So 8,000, and then is the third one 8,000 as well?
Yep.
Okay, so you have the 4,800 one, the 8,000, the 8,000, and the car loan, and then your student loans. And so you'll pay the minimum payments across all of them, minus the student loans since those haven't resumed. And everything on top of that, that $2,235 would all go towards the lowest balance. So the car that's $4,800 would get a minimum payment of $115 plus all $2,200, which would bring it down to somewhere in the ballpark of $2,600. And then the following month, again, pay the minimum payments, the extra $2,000 towards that debt. And then by the third month, that balance should only be a couple $100. You'd pay that off, and the remaining balance, that $2,200, would go towards the second smallest credit card balance. And then you start making progress. And that way, okay, I paid off one credit card, which is $5,000. I can start making progress on these next ones. And then you'll pay the second one off, and then you'll have one left. Versus if you try to spread it like $700 in each balance, you're not going to see progress quickly. It's going to take you 7 months to see one credit card paid off, which is not exciting. It's not going to be motivating for you. And so I'm a big fan of the debt snowball method because the debt avalanche might make more sense financially on paper, but financial and mathematical equations did not get you into debt. It was all psychological, so use a psychological approach to get out of debt. So that's how I'd pay out the debt using debt snowball method. So the debt snowball method will help you pay out these credit card debts and be an actual plan for you to do. Once you do that, then this is where it comes down to, okay, we need to figure out before that, you need to know your numbers. Is understanding the car loan, what the interest rate is on that. Is that what you need to be doing next? Or is the student loans, just understanding your interest rate on those. What's in order of importance? Is it paying down the car loan? Is it student loans? Is it building an emergency fund? Is it investing? These are all things you have to do, but you have to know the interest rates on those to kind of make those decisions. I'm a big fan of paying off all debt before you build a huge emergency fund. I think building a 1-month emergency fund before you pay off all your debt is also a good method. In your case, because you live at home, having an emergency fund that's $3,000 or $4,000, I mean, monthly expenses are very high. In my opinion, it doesn't make sense because worst case, you end up in more credit card debt. Best case is you don't. And worst case is, or best case, you could save up money and then you go spend it because you have $3,000 in your bank account. So once you get your credit card debt paid off, then it probably would make sense to start looking at, okay, should I build a 3 to 6 month emergency fund? It shouldn't be much for you because you're living at home. You don't have many expenses. And then once you do that, you can start analyzing, okay, do I pay down the car loan next? Do I start investing? What are the investment options for my company? But I mean, the number one priority for you is paying on the credit cards. That's going to take you 7 to 10 months probably. And that's really hustling, paying down $2,200 a month towards those cards. And then as we get close to that, we can have another conversation. Okay, what is your plan from here? Is it car loan? Is it investing? Is it saving an emergency fund? It's probably emergency fund first, and then looking at saving in emergency fund first, then car loan, and then saving. It really just depends on the interest rate of the car loan at that time. But all while the next 7 to 10 months, you need to be continuing to educate yourself about money. So you need to learn, watch financial podcasts, read financial books. But the only way that you can, I guess, become good at something is continuously learning. And I'm continuously listening to financial podcasts, books. That's all I listen to and read typically. And I'm just trying to educate myself because there's always someone else out there that's had a different experience or has learned something else that I can learn and that can help be beneficial to me or to people I talk to on the show or to someone in my life. So continuous learning is always important, whether it's in your career, in your relationships, or in finance. One thing that, I guess, two things we talked about. One is stopping credit cards. Don't swipe your credit cards. Don't use them. Don't spend on them. Give them to your parents and say, please don't let me use them. Just out of your sight, out of your room. One thing that you could look at, and it all depends on the cost of it, is do you know what balance transfers are?
Not exactly.
So balance transfer, so say your $8,000 credit card, for example, right now. If that credit card is sitting at a 25% interest rate, you're probably paying $150 to $170 a month in interest on because it's sitting at about a 25% interest rate. If you do a balance transfer on a credit card, that will go over to a new credit card company and you have a 0% interest rate, and it's typically for 12 to 18 months. It depends on the card. You do pay a 3% fee, 3 to 4% fee on that transfer. So it's $8,000. You're going to pay $240 to $320 in a fee off the bat. So basically an $8,300 balance would go up, but that saves you $150 to $170 a month. Guess what? That pays for itself. That fee pays for itself within 3 or 4 months. And so that's something that you might look into, and I'll send you some resources on that to at least slow some of the interest rate burn over the next couple months. And that'll help get that balance down a little bit. Balance transfers are not a fix. It's a Band-Aid because if you don't pay it off for that 12 months or the 18 months, hey, you're paying 30% interest rate on those cards. And that's basically what banks want. They want you to pay to transfer the money to them and then hope you don't pay it off before the end of the introductory period, because then they collect more fees on top of that. So my point is that is something that you can look at to help lower your interest payments each month on your credit card. I wouldn't do it on the smallest balance because you'll have that paid off in the next 2 to 3 months. But the card that you pay off last is, you're not going to get to that one until probably month 6 or 7. And if 6 times 150, we'll call it, that's about $900 in interest of that time period. If you pay basically a $250 to $300 fee for that, and that's $600 that could be going towards this other debt. It's not a huge number. So 600 out of 20,000 really is not that big of a figure, but it could help speed you up. But it also, if you don't pay it off before the end of the introductory period, it could cost you more in interest after that, depending on what the balance is. So if you were gung-ho, making progress, then, and you stick your plan paid off in 10 months, it will be a beneficial win for you. If you do the balance transfer, this debt sticks around for the next 2, 3, 4 years, you don't make any progress on it, it's going to be a loss for you. You'll pay more in interest. And so there's definitely some risk to it, because it probably will have a higher interest rate than your current credit card if you don't pay it off in time. That's something to look at. But overall, it's like you need to stop using credit cards. You need to know your numbers, whether it's your interest rate on your car loans or your budget. I mean, you need to know how much you spend every single month on each category, whether it's shopping, whether it's food, whether it's gas, and track all those expenses. Again, I'll send you some tools and resources to do that. Balance transfer is something to look at. And then just attacking the debt with all your might using the debt snowball method. And once you're out of credit card debt in 7 to 10 months from now, then I would love for us to jump on another call and figure out, okay, what is Kara's plan from here? Is it investing? Is it an emergency fund? Is it car loan, student loans? We have all these different things to look at and understanding, okay, what can you do? Where should you go from here? What makes sense depending on the different mathematical numbers in your situation and how long it's taking you to progress. If you paid off in 5 months, it could be different than if it takes you 12 months or 14 months from now, because you might want to move out on your own. You might be engaged, you might be married. I don't know. Who knows what your life's going to be in 12 months from now? But those are conversations we can have then. But right now, having a conversation about investing makes zero sense, because we got credit card debt that has 25% interest rates on it. There's no reason to invest when you have interest rates that high. So does that make sense? Kind of what to do from here?
Yes, it does.
Awesome. Well, I guess I got two questions for you. What is one piece of advice you'd give to someone in a similar financial situation as you?
Try not to get into it in the first place.
That's smart. Say no to credit cards if you're not going to pay it off in every single month. Everyone thinks people don't go into open credit cards with the intent of carrying a balance on it, and so it's just a risk that don't swipe it if you don't have the money in your bank account that day and can't pay it off that day. And I guess what was the one moment that kind of stuck out to you in your life that said, hey, I want to start paying this off. Hey, I need to go to a second job and I want to pay this off in the next 7 to 10 months.
I think the fact that I max my credit cards out, I'd never done that before, and I realized that it's not something that is a true good thing. So I wanted to pay it off before it gets to a point where it's too late.
Well, I'm glad you had that moment. I'm not glad that you're in that position, but I'm glad you finally had that moment versus, hey, let's go find other ways to pull out debt and start spending and continuing that lifestyle. So I'm proud of you for coming to that realization, like, hey, this needs to change. And I'm excited to see kind of where you go the next few months. And I would also suggest you is like find people that can cheer you on. It's you live with family. Tell them, hey, this is my plan of action, and I want y'all to hold me accountable. I want y'all to cheer me on, and I need your help and support, because it's not easy to say no to those ads on the internet and swiping on and buying and shopping. But it's not easy to not swipe that credit card. So like have them, bring them into your situation. Say, hey, this is my plan. I'm excited to do this. I'm gonna be working my butt off the next 12 months to get on a credit card debt. I would love support and for y'all to cheer me on. Find people in your corner that can cheer you on with that, because it's not an easy thing to do yourself. So
thank you.